Hello, Math Fails. I really like this video. I like all of your videos. In terms of you studying philosophy and maybe turning to psychology, you have to do what you want, of course, but I would suggest that you consider philosophy of cognition, uh, the cog-sci philosophy. It's very practical, and by taking an approach to philosophy of the embodied mind, it's psychological. I always thought that philosophy was really psychology from the inside, and you're good at it. So yeah, and my other thing last night, I was thinking about negative space. So see, to me, that video was an unambiguous compliment, a high compliment, um, because first of all, the ontology. If you say, "Hey, I have a compliment, but I'm gonna give it," that's a compliment. And but yeah, just to be less ambiguous. Though I was serious in the sense of, I hesitate to give praise to people that share their ideas too much and too, like, I really like that video. I'm afraid to express that too much because then people, might want to repeat the pattern that they think uh, is getting a good reception, or they might want to avoid it. Maybe they don't like that kind of reaction and they want to avoid it. And I just don't want to influence. On the other hand, you're mature, so I just leave that up to you. You shouldn't be influenced. But I do think, your videos are much more entertaining, I think, than mine. You have a good voice and demeanor for this. When you're trying to be funny, I find you really funny, and when you're not, you're still very just solid in the way you present this stuff. Um, with the Diamond Sutra, that's interesting. I did not know that. I often get called a Buddhist, uh, or an honorary Buddhist, because my ideas and skepticism and Puranistic skepticism have a lot of similarities to Buddhism, and indeed a relationship. Pyrrho went with Alexander to the east and talked with Eastern philosophers and sort of brought that back and westernized it. And this is exactly how I feel. What you described and what you read there is how I feel about the situation. I mean, I used to be totally against categories. In cognitive science, there's a great argument for why things have to categorize. It's basically, you can start from the eyes or in any neurons, but the eyes, you have all these nerve endings in the eye, and they come back to a lesser number of nerve endings. So obviously, there's this abstraction that's basically a categorization. There's nerves in the back that are used to represent, 10 little white specks or something. Um, and so this process of breaking ideas down involves categorization. It is a categorization. It's a material categorization, process which implies categorization, and we see that everywhere. And you can see similar processes out there that tell you why you do need to cut the world down into categories. So, but first you have to deny the categories and know how arbitrary they are and know that you are the one painting them on there. And they're useful like pens and rulers and things, but it's not that you haven't, done the slicing and dicing. You don't, and so you take this first step of denying them so you don't believe like the teleologies of the past where, we think that something has a particular purpose and we pretend that it really has that purpose. So you don't want to pretend that a category applies in some essential way, that the category is a quality. You want to know that we're projecting it on. So once you deny them and learn then that it's you that recreates them, well, then you're in this place of, yeah, it is okay to slice and dice because you know what you're doing. The metaphor of enlightenment makes sense, but I would add that, as a skeptic, I don't think you would ever have complete enlightenment. So we all would still need words because all of us are unenlightened. And I think as our as mortal beings, that we would always expect that condition. And if at death we become enlightened, or can be enlightened, or maybe we're incarnated or become, those are all theories on the side. And as far as I'm concerned, there's sort of an asymptote there where we can become infinitely enlightened, but then, actual enlightenment, like the speed of light, if it's material, or just like a mathematical limit if it's abstract, cannot actually be met. It can't be satisfied. So you can have something be more or less enlightened, but you can't have something that just is enlightened. But anyway, interesting video. I thought I would clarify my comments, because yeah, I was playing with negative space, kind of, where you say something by not saying it, and I talk that way a lot, and yet I also would kind of expect that somebody could watch that and know that it's unambiguously an extreme compliment, um, but maybe not. Anyway, all right, cheers.